Master Allah, ruler, zigzag, zig. Blessed be to the Most High, Jah Rastafari.
More issues to address. I got them kind of nervous, cause they know I throw shots in a lot of.
I had seen you post something. I was surprised. I never seen it. I had to go do my research. I seen you posted. Jadakiss, his dad and his son was on Joe Budden's podcast, and they was promoting their coffee brand, black-owned coffee brand. And you brought to my attention that Jada was like basically
a good kid.
And one time somebody called me a good kid, and I felt offended.
And I don't want to say good kid, but
I don't want to use the term good kid. We could just say that
he got brought up in a. In a good. You know what? Because I don't want to say it like I know his household.
Well-off family. He's saying that
he's Clarence from 8 Mile.
But his mom's and his father's married, right?
Yeah.
So he grew up in a house. Basically, Jadakiss grew up in a house with his mother and his father.
Financially stable though.
Financially stable. So I won't say Jadakiss. I think what it is. I won't say that he's.
All right, I know what it is.
I won't say he's a silver spoon kid.
Basically, this is what it is. The impression that we had of Jadakiss's lifestyle and his upbringing was revealed that we had it all wrong by watching that podcast.
Facts.
So we learned where he come from. We learned about his dad, his son. We learned about, the backing he had, the investments, the what they call that when it's around, the village around him was strong. So now the slide off on the early go back lines,
I think
come into question now. Like, we've been new, never did a day and got a jails on smash. We've been knew that, but it was like, really and truly, he really is the voice box. You know how when Jay-Z came out now saying like, you seen it from your window, project window.
I will say
it's coming like Jada's the real project window.
I would say Jadakiss was like a Drake before Drake.
Because he tells the story
eloquently. Not only that, like I see Drake's story, right? Because I got friends like that. Now where they not really them guys. They was really not really outside, but they just have a talent and shit.
They just have a talent.
And you're gonna protect that kid because he's just cool. You grew up with him. You know he's not about that and shit. You understand me? And you just gonna, So if that kid end up taking off, and he, that kid brings his people with him and shit. You understand me? That kid is gonna take on the people around him persona. Mm-hmm. And that's what Drake is. You understand me?
Okay. So
he
now
grew up. He had little friends that was tough. You know what I'm saying? I think what we fail to realize a lot of times, because I forgot who I was talking to last night. It could have been Frost. It could have been anybody. I forgot who it was. But I say, kids got to leave the house regardless. You understand me? So your moms could be. You could grow up in the perfect household.
Yep.
Your parents give you everything you want, but you got to go outside and chill with your friends.
Yes, and
you understand me? Yeah. And sometimes when you young, you're impressionable. So now you see your friends, you understand me, doing certain shit, and and I don't want to even call this guy out, but he's the realest nigga one of the realest niggas in history because he went in the interview and said that shit.
Who that?
Casanova.
Oh,
he went in the interview and said that shit. I didn't even have to do half of the shit I did.
Listen.
He said it. I ain't saying it. He said it. So y'all could go watch this Vlad interview. He said it. You understand me? But a lot of the times and shit, it's like you get influenced by your friends. And that it's like not only your friends, your environment.
Your environment.
I think it was my man and shit, because you seen I was going crazy on Twitter the other day. And I was talking about some shit with my man coming home, this, that, and the third and shit.
I seen that.
And I was talking to my Cody on the phone the same time I'm tweeting this. Because these things is not something that's coming off of my head. Yeah. I'm talking to somebody. I'm thinking it at the same time and shit. You understand me? Now I'm telling that nigga because my man, he used to chill with this next dude and shit, and he was asking me like, what happened to son? I'm like, son probably, doing good in life right now because he was always like a good kid growing up. His father was one of the high-ranking D-techs detectives and shit. You understand me? Where they used to have like the red and green flag in front of their house. You know, when you the red hard ranking type of shit. Moms was, some like worked in Manhattan and shit. He was a good kid. He had all the fly sneakers, all the polo, all of that shit. Know what I mean?
I got friends like that.
And the nigga just saw he turned Crip, and he thought he was a thug for 2-3 years until he got spanked.
Okay.
And that shit brought in his parents say, we gotta go. That's not you. You gotta go.
And he fixed up.
He probably fixed up. I ain't see him but I guarantee you, that's not the life he led, that he continued to go down. You understand me? So at the end of the day and shit, I would say it's like that's the situation. I had a friend that was like that too, and we turned him out, became blooded, all of that shit. Now, I mean, I heard that nigga, he never came back around, but it happens, bro. I mean,
and that's why I'm saying, when you were saying that, it's like we basing it off a fan perspective, but I'm not basing it off of understanding and overstanding. So getting back to Jada and shit like that, like, we just basing it off of for his lyrics and thing, but personally, I'm a Jadakiss. I'm a Lox fan. I definitely a Lox baby. I am We Are the Streets. So I would not take away nothing from Jada, but we just didn't know that. My thing is, maybe we I don't know what's your feel, but I didn't know that Jada dad they hired a lawyer to check over his contract.
Now, I know, like, I know
little
that.
things like that some of us probably never had as lyricists, as artists, as the help. Remember, we was both saying shit. If we had parents that was in tune or thing like that.
Remember, I was telling you about. I think like even Styles P, like he grew up in a house with his moms. His mom's is African.
Yeah.
And his step pops and shit. You know what I mean? But he just a rebellious kid, so him and his step pops just bump heads. But I guarantee you, he don't feel that way about his step pops today. You understand me? So he just a little knucklehead, not understanding. You understand me?
Yeah.
I think got Trini in him or some shit. I don't quote that shit. I want to be too wrong and shit. But they music been told you that it was kind of, because it's like, what's the name? Like if you seen the Rough Rider story, the documentary, and you heard about everybody being in the streets. You understand me? DMX, D and Y. You heard about Squiz out there robbing with DMX. DMX literally told you, I used to take this little nigga on juxes with me. You understand me? This little nigga used to go on robberies with me and shit. He literally told you, me and Swiz. You never heard them niggas say no story about them boys. Let's keep it funky. You ever heard a story about the Lox?
But you know what it is? You saying Yonkers is wild. The ambiance, Yonkers is wild. Yo, niggas is that. So in my mind, it's just naturally D Block.
Yeah.
Yo, them niggas, yo, son, you know. So I could tell you the legend, the myth. Yo, niggas, yo, D Block, yo, son, niggas, they got a block up there, you know. That shit, yo, shit moving in our brain. That's what, you know what I mean? Us being little, listening to the Lox, that's what we think. In our brain, it's like, these niggas is moving, yo, they doing this, they doing that. Them niggas they got street money. They don't need the hip hop money. This is in our brain as fans, you know what I'm saying? So now when we see this and the backing and the this and the that, it raises an eyebrow, you know what I mean? Not to take away nothing, because I know good kids that went outside and became official street niggas. And I know, you know what I mean? I know good kids that went outside, seen the shit was wild and fixed back up and went under their dad tutelage, their mom tutelage.
I could say something real quick. I remember, I forgot what year it was, but it was like they went on the radio, Angie Martinez show, and they started beefing about they publishing the Lox.
Yeah.
And Diddy ended up calling up the show and shit. You understand me? Yeah. And I remember that shit. And I remember how I always felt about it from that. I was in my crib smoking a split, about to go outside. Then they paused me like, oh. And she was like, yo, Diddy on the phone. I don't know if we should do it live right now. So I stayed, paused, listened to the whole shit. So I remember when I went outside, and then it finally hit everybody who heard it, and they was coming out. And I remember everybody's perspective, and my perspective was never the same as everybody else at that time, and it still isn't today. And I always heard what nobody ever heard. You understand me? Now, everybody heard Jadakiss talking about, I throw a refrigerator at you, all this bullshit, you understand me? The tough talk. So it sounded good to people. So when people heard the negativity, you understand me? That's what they took and ran with. Oh, they son Puffy. They didn't. Puffy son them on the show. You understand me? Puffy kept telling them niggas like, yo, first he was like, yeah, first of all, y'all niggas not even like that.
He was saying that, and I ain't peeped that.
And he said it in the calmest way. He said, first of all, y'all niggas not like that. You know what? We shouldn't even be doing this on the radio. Come up to the station.
Yeah,
you know what them niggas said? Oh, you got security. He's like, yo, I ain't got no security. He said, come up to my label, to my, what's the name? You
Come
probably
down
got,
to office, you know where it's at.
You
Bad
probably got national service thing around the
remember
building.
that,
He said, my
that.
nigga, you didn't say none of this shit to me in Miami. You have security. Puff doesn't run with security, bro. I'm telling y'all.
Puff. I didn't see him with security.
Puff doesn't run with security like that.
He run with a bodyguard.
Yeah, but
one bodyguard.
Know what I mean? Yeah.
I seen him with a bodyguard before.
Puff doesn't really run with you know.
You saying like how they think he had the
army,
like
the
fifth?
army, yeah,
like fifth,
yeah.
Fifth had the whole
he was
squad.
he's gonna let them upstairs because Puffy would give them the square. You never really heard Puffy running from a fight. Puffy will fight you. And I'm not trying to take up for Puff, but Puff wasn't scared of them niggas because the way he talked to them niggas was like, yo, y'all niggas was my little niggas one time. So y'all niggas, when y'all became, he was talking like, since when y'all became this, these tough guys, bro. I made y'all. Y'all name was the Warlocks. I took the war off of it. It says the locks. It's like, I know y'all. You understand me? So they was never no tough guys to Puff to begin with. So when they started doing that, Puff was looking at them like, yo, my man, this coming to the station. And they kept trying to deflect it. Nigga talking in the back and Jada like, oh, that's the classic deflection. Oh, you gonna call security. Nigga, you see me in Miami, you didn't say nothing. Oh, nigga, no, because you... So they were just deflecting everything he's saying. I've been listening from day one, and I was used to argue with niggas on the block and shit. So I was never sold on them niggas.
Wow. That's...
I mean,
you saying that? I'm sold. LOX.
I was never sold on them niggas.
D-block.
I mean,
yo, that's a moment in time. He said, I was never sold. You was never sold on the of D.
Yeah, I bought their music. I love their music. Anytime they dropped an album, I bought it. But
yo, this is crazy.
How you feel about Kendrick? That's how you feel about the line.
Yo, that's crazy though. You see perspectives though, but it's good.
I never felt that. Nah. But I can't say that, right? I can't say that because I really latched onto their music. Their music did a lot for me. It did a lot to me growing up. I loved it. I was always hyped. You understand me? When they dropped the album, I was hyped to go buy it. You understand me? But who they were, I never bought into the persona. The persona never bought in. I never really bought. It never. You understand me? When I heard Beanie, I knew that nigga was a beast.
Beans.
So at the time, right, they was talking all this tough talk to Beanie, even 50. And they really not in them niggas league, bro. Wow. Them niggas is really, was outside. 50 was going with some of the notorious drug dealers from Queens in history. You know what I mean? These niggas is something that Supreme ain't just no walk in the park. Know what I mean? Hamo, all them niggas ain't nobody's. 50 was around who's who, the who's who's. You never really heard about them niggas being outside around the who's who's.
They got signed at what, 19?
Very young.
Very young, right? They got signed at very young
Mary
ages.
passed their demo to Puff.
Yeah. And I heard about that too.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying? You know DMX has a diss track because Mary didn't alley-oop to Puff, and he got a diss track because Mary wasn't looking out for him.
Because she wasn't, because the young boys.
The young boys.
The young boys, because they wasn't, you understand me?
And they was Catholic school, private school.
You got to see the math behind that.
But dibble dabble more into the actual interview of the with his dad and everything. Add a little more detail to the audience to break down basically the things that the dad was saying that would like. And did you peep how Jada was like, nah, but I mean, we lived in the hood though.
Yeah.
Like the dad was like, well, da-da-da-da, and then Jada would be like, I mean, we lived in the hood.
Yeah. So I see.
Because it sounded like the dad was saying, yo, he never had to ask for nothing. Yeah. He never wanted for nothing. He's like, yeah, but I mean, we wasn't. You know what I mean? And it was kind of like it was something to watch. You know
He's like he didn't train his pops to say, he didn't tell his pops. You understand?
And his pops not gonna support that. Yeah. His pops probably didn't even like. I think his pops said he didn't like the music, but he knew his son was talented or something. But he wasn't even. You know what I mean? He knew his son was talented, but he wasn't big on. I ain't really
go too much. I'm gonna watch that whole episode though, because it was just like. You know, I seen
not to take not to take away from
Jada.
not to take away from the family business that they're promoting and,
And
black
not
owned
and,
business.
and not to take away from
what I mean?
and not to take away, because I don't want nobody that's watching this think that we're promoting single parent household. And I mean that the guy that grew up in a single parent household is more gangster than the guy that grew up with his mother and father. That's not necessarily always the truth. You understand me? But we are talking about Jada music that he served us through most of our lives. It was from a struggle perspective. Like he had to start from the ground up perspective, which it wasn't really that. You understand?
And that's what we're trying to point out, that we didn't know. So I felt like I learned more about Jada, and it adds to him, but it kind of like, whoa, so, you know what I mean? It kind of, you know what I mean? You know, but, so now it's like, what about like, is it Sheik the gangster one, or what, or is it Styles was always the one that sees the hardest, but now you're telling me Styles this and Styles that, you know what I'm saying? And like,
they all came up like similar.
I mean, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know, the Lock started off as Jada and Sheik. They was best friends. Mm-hmm. They was rhyming. And then they wanted to like become big. They had dreams because they was really close like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, man, some smoking splits, mm-hmm. young couple book bags on their back. Mm-hmm. They had their dreams. Yo, we gonna get big. We gonna sign this artist. Then they ran into this nigga Styles. Styles became their man. Styles was never part of their crew. Mm-hmm. Styles was supposed to be their artist. So when when Mary took a demo with really Sheiks and Jada on it, and Styles rapping as a feature. When they went into the studio and shit, when they first met Puff, they took the nigga Styles with them. You understand me? And they was like, yo, Puff was like, hold up. And he's like, no, this is gonna be our artist right here. So Puff like, no, it's y'all three. Warlocks, my nigga, stop it. So the kids had big dreams from a young age and shit.
Yeah, somebody was teaching their son about paperwork and signing. And he almost, but Diddy came through and said, nah, don't worry about none of that. Take these rollies.
Y'all gonna be a 3-man group.
The greatest group. I'm gonna put y'all in some nice suits.
And that's always, I will always say that was one of the biggest mistakes they ever did.
Leave
Diddy.
Leave Diddy.
Sheik would have been.
We are the streets. They wanted to tell us that we are the streets.
So bad.
They wanted to tell. No, we're not shiny suits. We're the streets.
We are the streets. So
we are the streets.
Think about that. That shit made so much sense. Wow. You just now bust my head with that.
You feel me? Perspective.
You just bust my head with that right there.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But not, man. Like I said, man. D Block. You know what I mean? My second favorite group.
The Locks is one of my best groups. Once they switched into the D Block era, they dropped like 10 notches on my list.
Why, the mixtapes?
I hated D Block.
You hate D Block?
I hate D Block.
Bully
I love the Locks. I hate D Block.
So you don't like J Hood, Bully, the niggas from Texas,
I don't know
from North Carolina?
I don't know them niggas.
Them niggas was hard too.
I don't know them niggas. By that time, I started tuning everything out.
See, yeah.
I was ignorant at a point in time. So even with like the last few wave of Max B music,
yeah,
I didn't jack it. When everybody was saying he was dissing Jim, I was off of him. I mean, like I took Jim's side. I was on Jim's side. Jim, my guy. You know what I mean, I know you through Jim. Calm down, nigga. Calm down, nigga.
You know what I mean? Speaking of that, they say Max coming home soon, man. Shout out to Max.
Shout out Max. Shout out Max.
Shout out to Max and the family. You know what I'm saying? Definitely.